Good morning, Stampers. I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and this is Friday edition of Maker Mornings with Meg. And it's actually one of my favorite episodes each month because this is the Paper Pumpkin Alternate Project Day. So if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, then you will love this because it will give you some alternate ideas on things to do with your fabulous expressions in color Paper Pumpkin kit. And if you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber yet, then that's fine. There are refill kits available for this month right now. When I'm recording this video, I checked this morning. And so you can get the refill kit for this. Now, refill kits are a perk of being a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. So they're a great deal. This one makes 9 cards for $10 and includes like all of the materials and stuff that I'm going to show you. It doesn't include the stamps or the ink, but it includes all the consumables. And so if you would like to get that, today or tomorrow actually, is Magic Paper Pumpkin Day, which is the last day to sign up to get the next month's Paper Pumpkin. So super exciting. So let's see. I am going to put a link in the video description here that links to Paper Pumpkin information on my website so you can figure out how to sign up for Paper Pumpkin really easily. And there is a link in the description for the supplies that I'm using today. So, hey, Deborah. Sitting on the table, yay. Yeah, it's time to open. So usually they come in an orange box. This one came in a little designer box for the Expressions in Color kit. And I'm gonna actually show you 3 different alternate cards today. So lots of good ideas for Paper Pumpkin. I know they're a really popular thing to be looking for. And I do alternate ideas every month, so you can always come back for more. And my Paper Pumpkin subscribers are invited to a stamp along night, a stamp together night for people who are subscribed to Paper Pumpkin through me. So make sure you ask me for information about that if you haven't gotten the email. So. All right, let's get stamping and I'll show you some ideas. All right, so we have a big blank paper here. Let's see, move this over because I need to get out my pieces. And we are going to take just a quick look. I took the tissue paper out already because it kind of catches on things, but they come packed in a pretty box with pretty tissue paper and so forth. So inside here are, this month, were 2 Stampin' Spots. You get 1 usually, and the July kit that you would get if you signed up for Paper Pumpkin today is going to have 1 spot in it. It makes 12 cards, so this one only made 9, but also lots of fun pieces in here. So there were some vellum pieces, there are sequins in here, that's some extra cardstock, little tiny label sheets. Oh, I should have used that. Well, maybe I still will. There are always envelopes in there. There are often die cut pieces. There are usually card bases. There are, let's see what else in here that I didn't pull out already. Those are the cards that are like designated with the kit. So the great thing about Paper Pumpkin is you can make them as designed, or you can branch out and do fun things. And this one happens to coordinate with the Expressions in Ink suite from the regular catalog, which, as you guys know, is my feature for this month for LovenStamps projects. So, and those have started emailing out if you've placed your order. So keep an eye on that for today. Anyway, there's always directions and stuff, but we're gonna not use those because we're gonna go out and branch on our own a little bit. We're gonna pull in maybe some of these embellishments and things. If you aren't a huge like Stampin' Up person already, Paper Pumpkin's a great way to invest because each month you get ink and stamps, and so then you're building your collection as you go along. All right, you guys are like, Meg, we know all this. We've heard these things before. Show us a card. All right, so the first one is going to be kind of a quick card. Here is the card example. Is there a bigger one? Oh, actually, here's a much prettier picture of all the things that are included in this month's Paper Pumpkin. And so if you get the refill, you'll get everything that's here except for the ink and the stamps. So it's a really robust kit for the $10. It's a really good value. So I'm gonna bring in one of these Bumblebee cards here and go ahead and fold this. It's not printed, it's plain. And then one of these vellum sheets that is designed to go over it. And they did this thanks card oh, that's an alternate project idea. So that's one of the provided ones. And they did this card here, whoops, as, I'm sorry guys, I don't think my camera can focus that close. They did this card here, the yellow one in the middle, as their like suggested card. So we're gonna do a little different. We're still gonna put this vellum on here, but I'm going to snag one of these cards, and this is meant to go on the green card. Here's the, I actually have this one made up as intended. So this is stamped and stamped background and stuff. That's the intended card. But this paper is super handy as paper. So let's grab our trimmer, and we're going to trim a strip across there. So I've got this. I'll put this back in the box because I'll use it for something else. And this is going to go kind of across here. And then I'm gonna grab one of these little pieces here from the kit. And there is a stamp in the Paper Pumpkin stamp set. So if you don't have this, you would wanna substitute. Like if you're just getting the refill for Paper Pumpkin because you didn't get this last month, you would use a different coordinating greeting size. And I'm gonna take this and ink it up in Evening Evergreen. Go ahead and stamp this on here. And I love photopolymer because you can see to get things nice and straight. And then this nicely punches out, and it's already got that pretty green trim around it, which really makes a nice extra accent. So this is gonna kind of go across here. And then we need a focal point for this. So one of the things that was included this month are these pieces here that are laser cut, and so all you have to do is just sort of punch them out and use them for what you like. So we're gonna put this on here, and then we need a floral, and so I used my Artistically Inked stamp set, which is the one I used on Wednesday, and this big floral here. I love the texture in these images, and die cut it, and we're gonna add this here to our card like so. And when it is all glued down, we have our first Paper Pumpkin alternate project. So using the kit colors, using all the pieces from the kit except for this coordinating stamp, which is a great way to kind of accent your Paper Pumpkin. So sometimes they coordinate with current stamp set offerings, which is great. And sometimes they kind of branch out and give us something new and different, which is also good. So, all right, you guys ready for another one? Okay, so next project, we are going to use one of these expressions in ink cards because they're gorgeous. I love this blended alcohol background look. It's really, really trendy right now, really popular, and it comes pre-printed on the card for you, so you don't have to do anything. All right, now to go with this, I'll show you the intended card here. Not too close because you can't focus. So this is the intended one. So it uses this vellum and some string and a greeting label and so forth. But I decided that I kind of wanted to stick a little bit more with the colors involved. So I'm going to grab this here. This is vellum. It is kind of got a white printing on it, so it's a little bit opaque and a little bit white. It gets a little lost on the background though. So I wanted to give this a little bit more bulk so that it really stands out. And I thought, you know what, I really love the fresh freesia color here. So if I put this behind, this will give us a little bit more presence for our die cut so it doesn't get lost so much. But why use a plain square when I can use my stitched So Sweetly dies, which you guys know I love. They're my new go-to. So I'm gonna take this size here and die cut a piece of fresh freesia to match, which gives us this piece here. Now that can pop underneath, and we have a really nice like centering focal point that takes away some of the busyness of the background and lets us highlight that vellum piece. All right, so now one of the cool things about this, this refill kit, so whether you're opening your Paper Pumpkin because you got it in June or whether you get the Paper Pumpkin refill for this month, you are going to want to grab your Artistically Inked stamp. I always store things in my cases that are pre-stamped for me from a previous project. And I am going to go ahead and use this large stamp here with the polished pink. Yeah, I'm gonna do the large one with polished pink. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get this out of the way so I don't make a little error. I'm going to stamp under the vellum to give this a little bit of a stronger background. And the shape of the stamp is quite forgiving, so you don't need to worry about getting it too exact. But check out what it does to the vellum there. It really highlights those pretty white lines and brings out that bright color. So then if I want to go ahead and add the next one, I'm gonna go ahead and add some color here. And this time I think I'll do fresh freesia, which is going to coordinate with our card elements. And I'm gonna kind of position this and stamp the fresh freesia under there. And then there's a little bit of floral here. And so I think I'm gonna go ahead and not worry too much about the overlap because that polished pink is pretty strong, so it can handle that. And then, let's see, you know what? I could go back and maybe actually, I'm gonna stamp this one more time here to make this a little bit darker. Well, maybe 2 more times. I don't know, let's just ramp it up. There we go. Oh, I like that much better. Okay, now we can see that pretty purple through there. And since we use the same color of ink and just stamped it multiple times, we know that that's always gonna still be a color match for us, even though the intensity is darker than what you would normally get from fresh freesia. And since we got the vellum over the top, it doesn't really matter that the images aren't completely lined up, okay? Now, I could add some green under here, but I don't think I wanna compete with the colors. So instead, I'm going to use this as is, and you can kind of see how our vellum is really tied in now. We have our great effect there. And I want to bring in some extra elements. The other 2 here, I showed you the green one when we did our vellum card, but the other of those die cut or laser cut elements are these, the purple and the pink. Now they actually have a little tendency to get lost in the background also. So let's see what we can do to counteract that. I'm gonna split them in half because sometimes I like my extra pieces. And I'm going to pop them, if I do this, they're gonna show a little bit more than I wanted under the vellum. So I'm gonna pop these under here and go ahead and use them where they stick on the purple. So I've got them kitty corner where the purple is gonna show here and the pink is on the purple here. If you put them right on the same colors, they don't tend to jump out quite as much. So let us grab our Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm gonna pop some dimensionals on these so that they're placed where I want them, but held on here with the paper. So, okay, so we've got that. Now this is gonna go on top, and we're gonna go ahead and add some extra pieces to this. So I need a little greeting here. I can use the little hello greeting from the Expressions in Ink stamp set, and then those fabulous pieces from the Paper Pumpkin kit, which are these amazing sequins here, and I can pop those around. And when I've got that all finished, this is what we have. Okay, so you can kind of see I just put those 3 sparkles on there to kind of highlight the focal point. And I added the vellum on with the multi-purpose liquid adhesive where it would be kind of covered. I'll talk about that in our next card, so you can kind of see how that works. Now, let's say that I want to save this for our next card, which I do, and I'm gonna show you another technique that you can do with these. So if you wanna buy more refill kits because you love these guys, go ahead. But instead, I have these pieces here that we put together. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to reach back to our coordinating elements. So we have our coordinating Artistically Inked, which of course has matching dies. And I'm going to pull this die here. So this is the die that I used to cut the flower. This die is going to be our fill-in for the top of this because it is miraculously the same shape as the others. So Stampin' Up! Did a really great job of mixing and matching pieces this month. So I'm gonna cut this from basic white cardstock, which I have done through the magic of television. And check this out. So this is a whole nother way to use this set of elements and have really the same kind of effect, just a different look. For the softness of the vellum to the, real bright white color here. You could also take your sponge dauber and or your blending brush, you could add some color to the die cuts there. But this is a great example of the pieces kind of mixing and matching to give you more flexibility, okay? All right, so I said we were gonna take that vellum and we are going to not use it on this card. Instead, we're gonna use it on a whole other card. So let's bring this vellum in here and I'm gonna show you the technique that I'm going to do in this. So, like I said, you get 3 of these vellum pieces in your kit and they come on a sheet along with the Merci, Danke, and Thanks, which you could stretch and use the foreign language ones if you want to. Most people know what Merci and Danke mean, so it wouldn't be lost. Or you can just use your thanks, but they do give you greetings in English, so you have choices. And then we're going to add some color to this. So one side has a little bit more opaque white side because it's printed on that side. Then the other side I'm going to call the back. And what we're going to do here is bring in our blending brushes. I know blending brushes aren't available to be ordered right now. That's okay. You can get sponge daubers to use right now. I know a lot of people have blending brushes already because they are so popular. So when they come back in stock, you should grab yours. But in the meantime, go ahead and use your sponge daubers. So, all right, so I'm gonna bring this one in. I'm going to use these mostly the way I usually do them. I know you guys can't see this very well, but it's gonna show up in a second. So I like to wipe across my ink pad and then swirl onto our paper. So I'm gonna wipe on here and swirl. And if you guys hear chatting in the background, it is an exciting day here because our dishwasher is getting fixed. We've been washing our dishes by hand for a few weeks. So, all right. So I'm going to show this to you from the front side. Do you see how that pretty opaque color is on there? And then we have the space left here to do our other coloring. I'm getting inky fingers. And we're gonna do that other coloring with the fresh freesia because we're going to kind of go with the same colors here. So I'm going to add some fresh freesia. Now, with the blending brushes, you probably already know, but you really get a limited amount of ink from each kind of wipe. So if you're not getting more intense color on your paper, you need to pick up more ink. It's not like the ink is getting deep in the brush and you're continuing to, add more if you keep swirling. You are blending it. So, all right, so there we have our, pick it up, our purple and our pink. Kelly says she turns over her alternate language. Oh, yeah. So what Kelly's saying is a great suggestion. So if you have, like they're printed, a lot of times they're printed, the language greetings like on this, like on a strip. So then you could always flip that over and just use that as another piece element in your card. Yeah, good idea, Kelly. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little more color on these like side pink, side blossoms here in fresh freesia. And then we're gonna go back and we're gonna add some color to our greenery this time. Now, for the greenery, I kind of wanted to lighten it up. So the green that is included with the kit is the Evening Evergreen. My go-to bright green is always Granny Apple. So I'm gonna bring in Granny Apple this time and use this with another blending brush. And you can kind of tell my blending brushes change a little bit. I kind of have one for greens and one for pinks, so one for purples. So I have 2 sets that I use regularly. But you can just kind of run the color out and switch colors on them. They don't hold ink or suck ink into them deeply, which makes them perfect for easy changes in color. And you can always take them to the sink and just rinse them out. With the classic inks, they're water soluble, so they would be an easy, quick rinse and just let them dry. So, okay, now I got a little more green on here than I wanted, so I'm actually gonna take my blending brush from purple and try and blend that out a little bit. There we go. Now, what do you guys think? Super pretty, right? So we want to make sure that this shows off to the best of its ability. So let's see what happens if we put this on a Whisper White card. There we go, like that. So now you can see those colors, they're super bright. And then I think I want to bring that freesia back in. So I'm going to bring in a freesia card base and use fresh freesia as our card base here. All right, so we've got this. Now, I need to figure out how to kind of connect these layers, at least that's how I usually talk about it in our videos. So I decided that I actually want to bring back a little bit more like centering focal point. And so I brought back in another of those Stitch So Sweetly. Oh, I've realized I just forgot to put these in the video description with the products. So Stitch So Sweetly, remember it's not there. You'll have to add that to your cart yourself. But when I add that underneath, it really sets off the elements, okay? And I think the freesia really complements the ink that we've got on there, and I don't find that it takes away from that at all. So I'm kind of happy with how that works. Let's get these out of the way. And let's add some background to kind of tie things together. So I'm gonna bring back in my Artistically Inked stamp set, particularly this inked version right here. So I'm gonna clean this actually, because I think I'm gonna do a little different version than I put in my video little photo blurb. There we go. So the photo samples that'll show up, and this will be a blog post on my LovenStamps blog later today. So I'm gonna bring this in, and I'm going to use this with fresh freesia. And I'm gonna give us some more background. Now, I know I have to repeat my polished pink color because I don't want to leave that just hanging. So that's going to work its way back in here, and we'll get there. Okay. All right. I wonder if I use this kind of under. Oh, that's kind of pretty actually. I kind of like that. I think I'm going to split this one out so that it goes a little bit further. Okay, we're going rogue, guys. This is not my planned card. Whew. Anything could happen now. All right. Oh, I kind of like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. We're gonna come back to it, but I'm gonna move those pieces away so that I can go ahead and add our inked background. So let's do this. I'm gonna hold these, no, I'm not. They won't stay together anyway. Okay, so, okay, you guys ready for rogue stamping here? I'm gonna bring in, I think just a little bit of ink on here, and I'm gonna kind of test this out to see. I think I need a little more at the top. I don't want like everything. I don't want a solid inked background. I want to leave some white space. So maybe I'll just put one more kind of down there toward the bottom, and a little more because that was in the middle. I don't like things in the middle. Okay, now, like I said, we need to bring our pink back in here. So I could clean this stamp and use this, or I could use the smudge stamp that's included with your paper pumpkin. So if you are, like, let's see, who is telling me? Oh, Deborah said she has her paper pumpkin sitting there. You can grab this smudge out of here, and I'm gonna clean mine because I used it for something else earlier, and bring back in my polished pink. So let's add just a smidge of this along the edges. So let's see, I've got some there, which means I want to like stagger a little. I think it's gonna go just up here. There we go. Okay. And you can see that really just sort of brings those colors back together so that it's like the polished pink flowers, of course it's there, it matches the background, rather than why is there a pink flower in your purple card? Okay, and you can kind of see how those stamps together make a really cool set of background possibilities. All right, so let's bring this in. Let's pop this in here to see how we like the placement of that and the placement of this. Oh, I'm kind of liking that. Maybe I'll turn these a little. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna use that same trick I did earlier. I'm gonna hold these in place and add my Stampin' Dimensionals where they're gonna be hidden by our layer. But the nice thing about this is that those little branch pieces are free to they're free to pop up and so forth on our card, so we have a little bit more cool texture and dimension. All right, so I'm gonna pop this back on here. Hi, Jenny. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our die cut vellum back on there. So remember, if you're just tuning in, we colored this one with the Stampin' Blends. You could use sponge daubers. Now I mentioned earlier that I would show you a technique for gluing, so I'm gonna show you that here. And then of course, when we bring this Fresh Freesia card base under here, it just really sets everything off. We have some embellishments to add. So we're still going on this card. And actually, I think this is gonna be like 1, 2, 3, 4 alternate projects. Anyway, lots of paper pumpkin alternate. So we wanna attach this. I'm gonna use my multi-purpose liquid glue. Glue shows through vellum. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the opaque parts of my card. So where there's a little bit more of the opaque white printed material, and use those to sort of anchor my vellum on our layers. So, all right. And then because green, I call it green lid glue sometimes, multi-purpose liquid adhesive doesn't grab instantly, I'm gonna go ahead and pop a block on there to make sure that that's gonna stay when we have our pieces. All right, so we need a greeting. And I'm gonna show you a couple alternate ideas. So you can use stamps from here, sending hugs, which is on the other card that I did. Thanks, which is always a great greeting. You could use thanks for everything. Let's go ahead and do thanks. Let's see, I'm gonna swap this out for the block that I used earlier. A great way to store your paper pumpkin stamp sets is to get a set of the clear cases, an extra set of clear cases, and then you can pop these into an empty clear case so that you have them organized kind of the same way as your other stamps. So, all right, whoops, kind of crooked. So let's try that again. There we go. All right, so let's try this here. I'm gonna go one shade darker, so I'm gonna bring in my gorgeous grape so I can get one shade darker than my freesia and stamp this on here. And I'm gonna show you two choices and you guys can help me decide which one you like. Okay, so there is a thanks here. Actually, here's a narrower strip that's already cut. Might be too narrow, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, so I was having trouble lining that up. So I'm gonna turn this so that it's lined up with my grid lines on my paper, which makes it so much easier to see what's going on when you're trying to look through a block. So, all right, so there is a thanks there. And then we're gonna compare that to thanks. I'll use that same lining up trick again. I love my grid paper. It's 100 sheets on a pad, so it'll last you a long time. And line that up, just a little crooked, but I think we'll be okay. All right, so we have two versions of our greeting to use here. We have this one, which I feel like it's a little bit stark against the pieces here. And then we have this one, which I feel like gets lost. So how do we get in between white and our lightest purple? This is one of the cool benefits of having either the paper pumpkin set or the Artistically Inked set, because you can make your own variegated stamps. So I'm gonna grab this and I guess I'm gonna use pink. I'm gonna stamp this, let's see. I'm gonna stamp it, I'm gonna stamp off. Okay, so I'm gonna stamp once, and then I'm gonna stamp on my paper, and then I'm gonna stamp off, and then stamp a little bit more down here. So now I have a variegated greeting that doesn't compete too much, and it doesn't, I don't like it all that much. Okay, hold on. Back to the drawing board. So I did it with purple last time. Let's try it with Fresh Freesia. See, this is what happens when we go off script. Just kidding, I don't really write scripts for these. Well, kind of I do. I mean, I plan my projects, so. But you never know what could happen. Okay, so here we're gonna take this, and instead of using the pink, because I didn't like the way that came out, it looked a little bit too competitive with all of our purples. Let's bring back in Fresh Freesia and stamp here on our background and trim. Okay, much improved. So there's our element there. What do you guys think? Better? All right, I think it's better. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop this on, and I'll use some dimensionals if I can find them here on my table. Here we go. Maybe I'll just use one. It will be easy. And I'm gonna pop this kind of down here to the side. And then I said, well, let's attach this so it stops floating around. I said we needed some embellishments. Oops, that is the end of my roll. Okay, well, if you are at the end of a roll of Stamp and Seal, it's very easy to replace. Let's see. So all you have to do is take these two halves apart. This part here is trash. The case you save. Now, one thing you want to look for is right at the edges, sometimes little bits of adhesive will grab onto the case. So before I put my next roll in, I always want to make sure that I get that cleaned off. And then let me grab my refill. So they come in these cute little things. Okay, I always laugh at this though. They have like a little split thing here so that you can tear the top, like a bag of chips or something, but they're open. So I'm not sure what the point of that is. It just makes me laugh every time I open one. Okay, so then you're gonna pop this in. Now I always like, you know, look at this, I'm like, oh crap, crud, how am I supposed to put these back together? So there's a post hole in the middle of the refill and a post on your case. So all you have to do is line up those posts. Both of them are gonna fit in there. This side doesn't have any posts, so that is clearly the side that's gonna go on the other half, okay? So really easy. So then, let's see, we'll give it a little forward, there we go. And now we have our adhesive ready to roll. Remember to keep rolling your wrist so that it forwards it for the next time. All right, then this is going to pop here on our card front, and we're gonna bring back those super beautiful embellishment pieces. And I'm gonna pop one kind of down there, maybe one over here. And then I want my third one to be on a different horizontal plane, horizontal line. So I'm gonna put it a little above there. So that gives us our little embellishment for this card. Okay, so cards here, this one, here's another version where I emphasized pink and I did the sending hugs greeting. So you guys can decide which one you like better, the pink version or the polished pink version or the fresh freesia version. I don't know. I kind of like both of them. I don't know which. I do kind of like the way the pink brought stuff out, but I also like the way this one has those extra layer embellishment pieces. So there's those. Here is the one that we did using this card base, which are gorgeous, and the vellum. And then here's the one that we didn't quite finish, but you kind of get the idea, that really played off of this one using the die cuts from the artistic dies that go with a stamp set from the catalog. So lots and lots of possibilities here for things to mix and match. And then of course you still have your bumblebee card bases and the small evergreen card bases to do for whatever things you love there. So lots of possibilities for this paper pumpkin kit. And that reminds me, in case you missed a little bit at the beginning, let's see, Sandy says the pink really pops. Yeah, it does actually. Or no, well, you can see the sample of it, even though it's not the one we made together. So reminders on Paper Pumpkin, the 10th of the month is Magic Paper Pumpkin Day. And so the 10th of every month, that's the deadline for signing up for Paper Pumpkin to make sure that you got your subscription all settled and stuff. And you can get either a prepaid Paper Pumpkin code, and make sure you put that into the Paper Pumpkin website. If you have questions, just ask me, I'm happy to help you. But make sure you register your code before or by the 10th of the month. Then your kit will either charge against your prepaid code on the 10th or the 11th, or your credit card if you just have your credit card on the Paper Pumpkin subscription. And then kits will usually ship around the 15th of the month. So you usually expect them around the 22nd-ish, 23rd, 24th, sometime in there, depending on your post office. And next month's kit makes a set of 12 cards, and the theme is, I think, life is an adventure, something like that. They have a really great look to them. I'm kind of excited. And rest assured that even if you don't get the paper pumpkin and look at the thing and be like, oh, I can't wait to make these cards, you can come here and I will show you some more ideas on how to use your paper pumpkins that just either tweak a little bit of material from the kit or kind of branch out greatly to use some other supplies alongside and really put those things together. So there are a great set of supplies, and when they all come in the box together like this, along with the ink and everything else, I think next month's box will probably be back to the orange, but it really makes for easy mixing and matching and everything. So all right, so that is our Friday. Hope you guys have a terrific day and a terrific weekend. I don't know about you, this week like whizzed by for me. So looking forward to having some relaxing time this weekend, and I will be back on Monday with some more stamping ideas for you. So thanks for watching, happy stamping, and have a great day.